Good afternoon and welcome to The Joy is in the Journey. I am Gina and I am the host of this wonderful show where we bring about joy. That's what we're here for. We are here to talk about more and more ways to find joy in your journey. Far too many people are waiting, are in that place of, well, when this happens, then I'll be happy. When I have the new job, when I have the right mate, when I've lost that weight, and you fill in the blank. Too many people are living in what I call destination happiness. Our joy is already within us. Anything that you really need, you were born with, tuned in, tapped on. When we tune into it and tap into that absolutely beautiful spirit within us, that soul knows and directs and always knows our path to joy. It's a divine quality. Spirit as us, always it's available. But are we accessing it? That's the question. So here we will be doing just that. Every week we find new ways to tap into joy. And I absolutely have somebody wonderful today that can help us do that in a whole new way. For many of you on the network, she will be a familiar face. We are blessed to have her on New Thought Media Network, and we are blessed because she is just pure joy. Every morning she's with us, and I am so excited. Today we have Rev Steph from Wake Up and Say Thank You every morning. And, it's Reverend Steph St Amand. And she's the co-founding spiritual director of One Love Awakening, a virtual community devoted to bridging hearts, awakening minds, and transforming lives. Called to spread the message of love and self-acceptance, Rev Steph is a spiritual teacher, international speaker, content creator, and author. Found in the award-winning best-selling book, Navigating the Clickety-Clack: How to Live a Peaceful Life in a Seemingly Toxic World, Volume 3. Rev Steph is an ordained minister with Centers for Spiritual Living and a cultivator of radical joy. Love it. Living in their joy, they make spiritual practice a global experience with their long-lasting live stream, Wake Up, Say Thank You. Empowering and inspiring the journey of self-discovery, purpose, and awakening hearts to the infinite power within them every weekday morning. Drawn to science in mind and tapping into the power that is greater than. Rev Steph has experienced radical personal transformation and healing through the embodiment of this teaching. And we'll talk more about One Love Awakening and all kinds of things. And I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome to Finding the Joy in the Journey.
Well, thank you so much for having me. When I have the opportunity to talk about joy, I am in.
Is there a better topic, really? Is there something better that we could be discussing? I don't think so.
It could be tied with love. Love and joy, they're synonyms.
You see the back pillows, don't you?
I do. Yes.
I agree. My next dog, I've already earmarked. I have pictures everywhere. It's going to be a golden retriever puppy named Joy. She's everywhere. She's my screensaver. She's everywhere. And it happens to be a golden retriever, National Golden Retriever Day today.
Oh, I didn't know they got a whole thing, because I actually believe I am part golden retriever. So
well, there you go. You were the exact person for the show then. See? The universe aligned once again.
Yes. Wonderful. I like planting joy beans. I always have some joy beans in my pocket, and wherever I go, I'll plant them for sure.
I love it. I love it. Dynamic, interactive existence. Yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Wayne. I think there's going to be a whole lot of energy on this show. Probably too much for people to handle at times. Pull it all in. Tap in. Absolutely plug in with us. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah. Grab some popcorn. Let's go.
Absolutely. So there's so much that I want to ask you. I always start, or often start anyway. What brings you joy? What in your life brings you the most joy?
Um, I think one of the biggest things most recently is the ability to be a cat pillow. The fact that my cat could be anywhere on the planet and chooses my lap, that to me is everything. Like an independent creature wants to be on my lap. So I feel that that experience for me just brings me such joy. And watching my old dog run after squirrels, thinking that she's too old to run, but if she sees a squirrel, she's like beelines. And I think it's just making sure that my eyes are open to see the joy and to be aware of it. I know that we've been doing some book studies with One Love Awakening, and one of them was The Big Leap. And in The Big Leap, he talks about how we contain our joy. We don't allow our joy to extend, right? We have a moment of joy, and then our consciousness or our subconsciousness immediately directs us to something to hinder or snuff out that joy light. And I think the journey really is to just, okay, I have joy. Let's not let it get away so quickly. Let's be present for it and enjoy joy, because too often we celebrate something and then immediately we turn to, oh, what's next, or like, was I really good enough? We start telling ourselves stories. What if we just change the narrative and start saying, like, just being present for the joy as when it's here,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think often, to me, it's the mountaintop. We often are looking to get to the mountaintop, but we're missing the beautiful views along the way.
That's right. Yeah.
Every breath of that is magnificent. So
Yeah.
don't miss it. When too much of life is rushing to the next thing. Our children will never be the age that they are again. There are people in our life today that will not be there next year, maybe even next week. We don't know. If there's one thing this whole COVID experience has taught us, nothing is guaranteed. So it's appreciating in each moment what we
this
have.
is the day. This is the day. This is the moment. It's what I'm talking about on Wake Up, Say Thank You all the time. This moment would be impossible without your awareness. And how magnificent is that you are God, aware of the moment. And if you aren't open to seeing that, or to expressing or expanding the full nature of your own being, then just keep watching these shows.
And that's what it really comes down to. We have to plug into whatever it is that we choose. We get an opportunity to choose. And you mentioned it, and I've mentioned it, and I want to show people the time. And just in case they haven't had a chance to see your show, this is the show every weekday morning. Rev Steph is here. Now, whatever time zone you're in, you'll find it along the way. So 8 a.m. Pacific and 10 a.m. Central Time, where she is in Canada. And it's actually 11 a.m. where I am on the East Coast in Rhode Island. So wherever you are, wake up and say thank you. And the beauty of that too is it's always available. Those shows are filmed Monday through Friday. And if you haven't seen them, go back and watch. Wherever you are, it's like a jolt of joy. It's giving that gratitude, because you can't be grateful and sad at the same time. You get a choice of how we walk through life. We get, whether we're choosing consciously or unconsciously.
Yeah. The law is always working, whether we're awake for it or not. Yeah.
And there's different things that happen, and it's not in judgment, because I can should myself just like anyone else can. And we get to that place of, but I should feel There is no, you are where you are. That's your starting point.
Mhm.
Pretending that you're not, denial, which is a good part of my life that I spent in, didn't serve me in any way because it got me sick.
Mm.
What woke me up, for me was cancer. I had a couple of different cancer surgeries and I could not walk at the end. Actually, I was in a coma from the second one. So it's one of those things that we come out of this place and we get a chance to wake up. Now, I know you have your own story from before Science of Mind, before you found and lived these teachings. So I would love to hear about that.
Mhm. Oh, yes. So I found Science of Mind in 2008, and before that, my early 30s. When we're all looking for some, when we're at the right age for looking for something more in our life. And but from the age of 13 to 33, I suffered from chronic anxiety disorder and severe depression. I was most of my 20s I lived in a very dark place, and I lived in a place where um it was a dark cave. I call it my dark 20s, or the dark depression of the 20s. And there was just a lot of the world is out to get me. There's a lot of I believed that everything outside of me was unsafe. And so I was a very, very good storyteller in that way. I was constantly affirming the things in my life that were going wrong. And I lived, oh my goodness, like I've experienced homelessness and hunger. I've experienced these amazing and wonderful things. And I say amazing and wonderful things because on the other side of them, the way I found Science of Mind, I'm now so grateful because of who I am today. I would not be who I am today without having experienced all of that, without having, I tell this story very often. Um, there was a time in my life, I was about a week or so away from getting evicted. My fridge was empty, and I was going to make my last cup of rice. I had one cup of rice left in my home, and I went to pour it in the pot, and it fell all over the floor. And I fell with it. I fell right in onto the floor with this cup of rice and started bawling my eyes out. And I looked up, and I did that shouting at God, like, what, God, what is this? Like, why this? I need some help. I need some support. And that was probably the first time I even asked God for help. Right? I was always thinking I had to do everything for myself, and if I wanted it done right, I had to do it myself. And so I kept putting all of that stuff, all those restrictions on my own being. And so in this moment, I'm looking up for the first time and saying, God, help me. And my phone rang, and it was it was an ex-girlfriend. We had it was a not fun experience. And that ex-girlfriend called me up and said, I heard you're struggling, and I would really love to come and buy you some groceries. And she took me grocery shopping. This is like, I'm in my early 20s, right? So she took me grocery shopping and filled up the cart, and I was like, wow, like what I all I had to do was ask God. I didn't have to ask anybody else. And it still took years between that cup of rice and finding the Science of Mind. In fact, a month before, 2 months before I started the Science of Mind, I was on the suicide hotline trying to trying to figure stuff out. Life was difficult, and life can be difficult. There's always going to be challenges in the human condition because we have free will and we have choice and we have decisions to make. We get to participate in this life, and that's the gift. And so finding the Science of Mind, I started I started a new relationship with my now spouse, my now wife, and a month later we found the Science of Mind community together. And that first Sunday, we're sitting there, and we're just kind of, we're putting our toes in the water here. And right from the pulpit, the presider was saying that we're starting a new class, and you can take classes and get accredited and become a minister right here. And my wife Tammy and I looked at each other in that moment and said at the same time, I've always wanted to be a minister. And so we both had really young calls. Like, she was 16. She had this beautiful moment where she received that tap from the divine, and I was 10. And then life happened, but we weren't ready for ministry, or even to be ready to be educated in New Thought, until we went through all of that stuff. And all of that stuff is the strength and the fertilizer of the good that is in life right now. And so that's that beautiful journey. And so a week later, we were in classes, and we took classes together through all the way up to ministerial studies, and we co-minister, and we co-life it. And I think that that's a huge part of my joy, is to be the witness, because to witness other people having those moments, when I know how important that moment for me sitting in that space was. I was ready to be cracked open. I was ready for change. And I think people who are hesitant or shy away from that rock bottom experience are kind of missing the possibilities of what all that hard stuff, right? Tammy and I, we always joke about being stones in a tumbler. When we both started our relationship together, we were jagged little rocks. And the commitment to be in relationship, it is that, take leaving off the table. And that's for community too. Any relationship, you have to be willing to invest in a relationship. Right. And so, but that tumbler, that's what smooths us out. That's what polishes us. And so I think we spend too much time in that place of fear and instead of trust that what is inside of you is divine, and trust that the universe that has created you to be in the space and time is also providing everything that you need. And to just be a place of witnessing the divine operating through you. That brings me joy. Like, oh, wow, that was an amazing thought I just had. God is so cool through me. Right? Find yourself the most interesting person on the planet. I think that's a really great way to go through life. Just remembering that you are fascinating and interesting and worth spending time with.
So true. And you just, so much was there that I would love to unpack. But I mean, it's true. We're our own company, good or bad, and we get to choose. And if there's something that we don't like about, we can look at that, and not in a way of, why did I do that again? But simply witnessing, what is it here to teach me? If someone else did it, how would I treat them?
Yeah.
Being the witness and not the judge, and really being that loving presence, because oftentimes many of us were not given the tools to do things in a different way. My dad, for example, he's gone at this point, he transitioned, I want to say 8 years ago. And I was blessed to have someone who loved me and provided, but didn't know how to give anymore. He knew how to be a great guy. He was in program and 12-step programs, and he sponsored a ton of people. And he was so good to perfect strangers off the street. So good. But he didn't know how to be a dad. He didn't have an exam. And we have to, rather than me trying to get out of someone else, I can fill what I feel is missing. I don't need someone else to nurture me anymore. It's
Yeah,
nice, but I don't have to. I'm not trying to fill my gaps with somebody else anymore.
that's right.
And when we realize that we can nurture ourselves and give ourselves what we need, we also can learn to be kinder to ourselves, I think.
Hmm.
And I can love him for who he was without resenting him for who he wasn't. Because
Hmm.
it's always about me. Like you said, the rough edges are always my edges, or
Yes.
I wouldn't be bumping against.
Hmm.
So all of it, everything, this is a classroom of life.
Yes, absolutely. Hmm. Earth School. Who called it Earth School? I've been doing so much reading these days. Can't keep can't keep up with who said what these days.
I can't believe you got your call at 10.
Yeah, I'll share the moment if you.
I would love to hear that.
So yeah, I was a super youngin, and just having a day. I was blessed to grow up right on the lake, and from down the hill was the lake, and so there was these flat rocks that were just like God's way of saying, here, sit here and meditate. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm just gazing around, and not being aware that now we would call it meditation, but at 10 it's like I'm sitting sitting still for the first time in 10 years. And so I'm just gazing around, and I started to see that the how the light was shining on the lake, and how it was actually like it shone brighter, and as things were catching, and then I just recognized that nothing was separate. The sunlight was the water, and everything was glowing, and I felt like everything was one. There, like, I could understand the entire universe in a moment at 10. And then I heard this booming voice, "You will teach this." And I was like, "Well, that's sweet." And I stood up and ran up the hill and went and played, and never thought two things of it again, and had a windy road and a path, and I became a seeker. I dabbled in multiple faith traditions, like we often do, to find what fits. And I had to go through all of that struggle so that I could teach that, right? Teach oneness, because and that's what and that's all I do today is oneness and wholeness, and just keep getting it back to that I separation is suffering. And when we can realize and come together in an understanding that we are not separate, we are one. We are an infinite wholeness, partaking as individualized expressions of divinity. Then that's peace. We will know peace. I have absolute faith that and trust that peace is possible, and it begins in me.
So true. And that is a beautiful story to know, and it from that point that there's something specific that you're here to teach. That's a beautiful, and I can imagine being in that moment, the perfection of that moment. That I've had those like glimpses that in that moment, in that pocket, all is well, and I
Hmm. Yeah.
and then life happens, and I want it's like we spend the rest of our time trying to get back to the moment, but there is no back to. It's
Yeah.
right where I am.
Hmm.
And that's the trick of really being present, that there is nowhere else, that
Yeah.
anything else that I'm thinking of but right here right now is
Yeah.
tearing me away from the good of now.
I love Emma Curtis Hopkins, and she wrote, "And I need do nothing." Right.
Mm,
I just the like reading that, and hearing that in treatment, in prayer, in conversations, right? That it the I am is doing everything. I need do nothing. And it's just so comforting. It's so comforting. I use that a lot in my prayer work these days. Is here here's what I here's the truth, and I need do nothing. Like Emerson reminds us that get your bloated nothingness out of the way, and that's what needs to do nothing, because the universe is always in activity. There is no moment of stillness in infinite wholeness. It's articulation. And so get out of the way. You need do nothing. You just be yourself, and that's
In
enough.
faith. In faith.
In faith.
Just
Yeah.
know, and know that you know. Claim what you want, and it's amazing. I think that for me, part of the depression, because I also, growing up, I had a lot of stuff no one know about. I wouldn't tell anyone about it. I couldn't allow myself, because I was raised to be the caretaker. So how could I have someone taking care of me? And I didn't think I was worthy, but I didn't know how to articulate that either. So there were all kinds of mixed signs that I gave to people, wondering why no one was there helping me when I never asked for it. How's that for irony? But I showed them that I didn't need them,
Mm-hmm.
and then wondered why they weren't there to ask. So it's amazing what we really learn when we stop and pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I can, there's just so much. But I when it came to love and law, I loved love. That was the fun part. That was the joy part. That was like, that's the good stuff. Why would I loved love. And when it came time for, the law, I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's how it works, whatever. And it really is what I went through my early classes, going through even practitioner studies. Yeah, the law, okay. But I never got it.
Yeah.
In ministerial school, something clicked and I got it. I'm like, oh, that's the good part. That's where I let go and let spirit do it. Let God have
Yes.
it. Okay.
Yes.
Now I actually, a lot of my treatments will be, I keep my hands and feet in the ride. Not mine to do. Stay in the ride, boys and girls, and just let it be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I try. I'm just going to slow it down and I'm going to mess things up. So let spirit do what it does. I'm going to let God be God today. How's that
Mm-hmm.
for a novel concept? And when I put it in those simple terms, it reminds me that it's simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and it's so very simple. The human being loves complication, right? So we're like, oh, this is going to be easy. Let's throw some big boulders in our pathway. And it's kind of like Scotty on Star Trek. I'm a Trekkie, just so you know. Yeah. And so Scotty would always make everything seem like it was going to take forever so that he looked good, right? And that's what we do as human beings. We're like, oh, you know what? I totally do that for you, but it's going to take 3 weeks, and then 2 days later, it's done. Look at how great I am. So really, what we just should be saying, not to should on people, but that we are. I'm so awesome. I bet I could do that in 2 days, right? But we tend to tell stories, and we awfulize, and we grandulize things so that we look like we're coming off better, we're succeeding as a human being. And really, just to be present in aware presence, that's for me everything. To be aware presence, being aware. And so the moment, just being in the moment of existence, for all of spirit to like flow out of that. And we just constantly make things more difficult. But the law is simple. Think, and it is so, right? As you believe, it is done unto you. It's simple, and it's been taught in that way for 2,000 years. And we're still going, I want to make it complicated.
Sometimes I don't think it's that, it's not even a complication because some things flow very easily. It's
Mhm.
what you're used to. When you were finally ready, you broke down and you're like, okay, what's with the cup of rice? Like, seriously, come on now. And the
Yeah.
phone rings.
Mhm.
When we're finally at that point of surrender, of not trying to do it my way, we allow sometimes
Mm.
we just suffer, because suffering, everybody will experience pain and discontent in different ways.
Yeah.
Stuff happens, grief happens, we lose people, we lose pets, we lose things change, and sometimes it's extremely. I am not minimizing life experience. I have had enough of it that I am
Mhm.
not by any means minimizing.
Yeah.
And sometimes life is absolutely devastating. You've been homeless, you didn't know what was next, and you didn't even know. Sometimes at that moment you feel quicksand, like, where do I even turn next? How do I
Mhm.
even start? Because there's nothing that's level on the ground that I'm trying to walk on.
Mhm.
When everything has blown up, that's the easiest time to turn to spirit, but it's not often what we're taught.
Mm.
There's that part of us thinks I need to fix this, which the sense in that one, because I'm the one that got myself into the jackpot to begin with. So I always love that concept that, well, I need to do something.
Mhm.
I did something, look where I am. So it's like, now what? And it's like, spirit, okay, what's the next right step?
Yeah.
That's all there is the next right step. And you cannot be in fear and faith at the same time. It's the way that it works. So
Mhm.
if I'm experiencing anything but faith, then there's fear there. So now what? And sometimes we need other people to help pull us out.
Oh, absolutely. We are communal folks, right? There's what we say at One Love is that we're just good people walking each other home, because not one of us, not
Ram
one of
Dass.
us is here alone. We're on the planet. And although we are the wholeness of God, spirit, divine mind, we are not the totality of it. And so absolutely. It was other people who, other people are always the ones who are going to help pull you out, right? And the one thing I love about that drew me to the science of mind is that I learned for the first time that I am accountable and responsible for my life. This is my life. No one else can fix me. No one else can heal me. No one else can grow for me. It's my responsibility to be here. And if I'm the one that got me into this place of madness, I am the one who will get myself out. And the pathway to that is very often in a community. We find our people, right?
Our very own tribe.
We find our tribe, we find our folks, and that is how we that is how we move together. That is how we create a better life. That's um, in community, we give each other permission. And I study conscious leadership. I teach conscious leadership, and for me, it's like 15 commitments of a conscious leader is it's one of my new Bibles. It's awesome, but it doesn't have to be the 15 commitments for to be a conscious leader. It's a 15 commitments for a conscious life. And are you living above the line or below the line on these 15 commitments? And so coming into a community, we get to participate and engage and grow and support. And just like when my first time stepping into a science of mind community or a new thought community, I had all the baggage I could possibly carry, right? And because there are people who are already on the path, that's why Ernest Holmes and the author of the AA, like Alcoholics Anonymous, their book, it's very much in alignment.
Same language. was
Yeah,
written. It was
yeah,
written at the time they studied the people that wrote
together.
the big book
Yeah,
studied our New Thought, you
yes,
know.
yeah. And so that is the journey. It's this, the people who have learned it. It's our responsibility to teach it. And we were talking before we got on about that. Like, if this teaching hadn't transformed my life, I wouldn't be on my soapbox about it. But because I know it works, and it's the same way when I stepped into my first community, broken, unfixable, unworthy, self-loathing, all of this stuff. There's already people in on the path that can pull us and guide us and lead us to that possibility by living the example, right? I teach and I preach and I do all that stuff, but I cannot do the work for people, and it's so frustrating because I'd love to do the work for everybody. Because I know wholeness, I know joy, and I know that it is the sticky and the sweet. It's the hard spots and the soft spots. It's all of it. And we do a disservice when we spiritually bypass and support other people in spiritually bypassing. So if anyone is listening who is on the edge or the fence of walking into a community or clicking on a Zoom link for a community, a New Thought community for the first time, trust that you're not the only one in the room who's going through the stuff you're going through.
And on this network, we are here for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest reason I think that we're like I one of the biggest benefits of this network. We have a prayer team. I'm going to put up this is your community that people can reach out to, the
Mm-hmm.
One Love Awakening Soul community, and that is actually it's One Love, what your website is.
OneLoveAwakening.com. And it's the number one. We're number one.
OneLoveAwakening.com. And it really comes down to coming to that place. There it is. I knew I'd put it somewhere. OneLoveAwakening.com. And also, you can reach out to, I'm sure that you have a contact information there. They can reach out to you directly.
Absolutely.
And as well as on the show in the mornings, I'm sure you can leave. Actually, right now we could take questions. So anybody that's watching across the many platforms that we're on, and if you haven't gotten a chance, you can always reach out to us later. These shows are there, but we still get your messages.
Mm-hmm.
And this is mine. It's Gina at cslboston.org. And you can reach out here as well. And, ntmedia.org that's actually the other one, but you can also prayer at ntmedia.org is the one I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And we have an entire team of people that are here to know your truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's prayer at ntmedia.org. And that is our practitioner core as well as our ministers.
Mm-hmm.
So this network is here to help people get to that place of doing it for themselves through spirit as you doing it
Mm-hmm.
without that bypass, because there are a lot of people that walk around all is well, but that's not their experience. And it's true, all is well, whether we feel it or not. Yes. But when we are communicating with someone that really cares about us, we're here to be truthful. We're here to be in that place of, if I need help, I need to know and care enough about myself to say, this is what's going on with me. So that's where spiritual community is best.
Yeah.
Because we're born or hatched into a family that doesn't always understand. And sometimes some of us, if you're anything like me, my mom said to me on several occasions, where did you come from? Like, I'm nothing like anyone in my family. Where did you come from? And she said it with, mostly endearment, but I really wasn't like, I was that seeker. I was outspoken, and I didn't believe what everyone else believed just because they told me to believe it. Where did you come from?
Well,
If
some of
that
us were born rainbow unicorn kittens. It
I
happens.
love that. Sure. Absolutely. So, love, hope, and pixie dust. That was the other thing you said that I loved. It is. There's some of us that think differently, and New Thought is just that. So you've found your home, And there's a whole lot of different places, there's a lot of houses, and wherever they are, look and find and
Mm-hmm.
ask. Because if we say we'll treat, we'll pray, we'll know your truth, you have to receive it.
Yeah.
And there's oftentimes emotional stuff that needs to be released in order to receive.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
word work denotes something really negative. So I don't want to say work in that sense, but there's stuff to unpack.
Unpack. Yeah.
Or there's healing that you at least need to receive, because a treatment heals anything if we let it.
Yeah.
We can, I love calling it like the weeds of doubt. The weeds of doubt, insecurity, false beliefs. Treatment can pull those weeds all at once.
All at once.
It's
Yep.
up to us to make sure that number one, we let it, and the other is that we don't let them grow again.
Yeah.
So we have to replant the right thoughts, the right beliefs, so that what we're growing and cultivating are what we choose to grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
Now
always,
I'm on the
I
soapbox.
liken it to, it's simply remembering or unlearning, right? No one was born and handed a manual. So we're all doing the best that we can. And when we know better, we do better, Maya Angelou, right? And so that's the beautiful thing about community, is that we can love you enough for both of us until you can love yourself. So that's stepping into community and just being open or willing to possibly engage. And in that remembering, it's that there's nothing broken here. Everything is the divine. There's nothing broken. There's nothing that needs to be healed. It's simply remembering your divine substance, the life that you are born to live, you are living. And that the healing notion is this beautiful prayerful balm, like BALM, or salve for your soul, because the truth is already here. The truth is already here. You are already perfect, whole, and complete. There's nothing more you need to become. If it's feeling painful to exist, if it's feeling painful to be, then it's in that remembering that is returning you to the place where you come from. And there is, and I think that that's a part of, the spiritual bypass, is that we go around believing there's something in us that's wrong. There's something in us that's broken and that needs fixing. No one needs fixing. No, none of us. And because every single one of us is made from the same substance, the same wholeness, the same divinity. And it's just remembering that whatever is happening is spirit happening. And to just, I just keep inviting people to be in community with that awareness. You're a gift. The day that you're breathing, and one of my favorite dadisms is, I always ask him, "How's it going, Dad?" And he'll say, "Well, I woke up on the right side of the grass, so it's good. We're having a good day," right? Because if he's still here, there's still something to be had in this day. And I love his grumpy optimism.
And that is the truth, though. If we're still here, we can choose to be happy at any time. There is no wrong turn that we've taken in life. We're exactly where we're supposed to be in this now, or we wouldn't be here. So it's trusting and relying and being in that place of knowing Spirit's got this. And by this, it's everything, and it's easy to say. It's easy to say. And when life blows up and nothing looks like I expected it to, then I say, like, what happened here? And I know you were sharing, and I have to say I love it. You had a 20-year plan, because I always laugh. I certainly have no long term. That's not how I'm built. But I always think too that, I make plans and Spirit laughs, because, I never planned to be a minister. I absolutely was not on my radar. I certainly did not anticipate this. And here I am. And I live in Rhode Island, and I'm spiritual director of the Boston Center. I grew up in Boston. I never planned on going back.
Yeah.
Yet here I am. So it happens the way it's supposed to when I pay attention. And
Yeah.
I know that, but I get a kick out of it because it wasn't on my radar. I was going somewhere warm. Yet here I am, and I know without doubt it's exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Oh, I knew I was going somewhere warm.
You were going to
Now I'm back
California.
I'm now back in a city where I said at least 100 times, I'm never going back there. I'm never going back there. I'm never going back there. And then God said, "Hey, guess where you're going?" And I was like, "Ah."
And how did you deal with that? Because you were sharing, and I hope you don't mind, that you actually had a community, that the two of you were going to lead in California, which you
Yeah.
always wanted to live in, and you were so excited, and you got to California, and you were ready. You were waiting for your work visas, and it was just ready to all happen. You sold your house. Life was beginning in the direction you always wanted. And then
COVID hit. Our work visas didn't go through, and at the time, and our Prime Minister in Canada, Justin Trudeau, said, "Canadians, come home." And we were like, "Oh no, what are we gonna do?" So, yeah, blind trust. In an instant, my 20-year plan went out the window, and I've always been a planner. I'd always been here's the 1,500 point turnaround strategic plan for Steph's life, and goal setting is I love it. I love a good strategic plan team for sure. And but that all had to get wiped clean in an instant so that I could live the life I'm living now. And so from that experience, I just, well, the faith of that Spirit has a bigger plan for me than I could ever know. So why am I planning so deeply? Why am I planning so far in advance? And even to this day, the last 2 years, I don't plan meetings 2 weeks in advance. There's if you look at my calendar a month from now, it looks pretty bare, and every week gets filled up because I love being busy. But the just the experience of being in the moment, that's what I had to learn. I was constantly, in that place of wheels spinning for the future, future possibilities. They weren't guaranteed things. And so I have absolute faith that all of that happened. I even joke that COVID's my fault because, I'm standing in the backyard going, what Spirit, what? And then California shut down. So the past 2 years for me has been just being in the moment. What's mine to do today? What am I here to do today? Who am I here to love today? What can I do more of today? And to just be present for that. And One Love Awakening, we're just a year old now, like officially 1 year old. And so right now we're meeting we have a strategic plan committee, and we have a beautiful facilitator who's like magnificent at leading strategic plans, and I'm like, I've just spent 2 years in the moment going, I'm now supposed to look at 3 to 5 years and go, oh, how's my community going to grow, and how are we going to grow together, and what does everyone want to see, and so it's kind of seeing the future with fresh eyes, having just been blessed with so much of all I need to worry about is today. And but now we're a community, and we want to grow, and we're planning a soul family reunion retreat for September of 2022 here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and then we get to see what's next. So we can have goals and ideas for the future, but be in a place of non-attachment for them, because that's
that's the word.
like
It's our
that.
attachment to whatever that causes us any kind of pain.
Yeah, because I grieved severely for months the loss of that 20-year plan. Like I thought I was going to be in that community for 20 years. I was going to be like this pulpit minister down in California, and an hour from the ocean, and just be in that place. And so I grieved very deeply for for some time, and sometimes it's like, oh no, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And Amy Steinberg's song, I'm exactly where I need to be. I need to be
Love that
exactly
song.
where I am. That's on repeat in my head whenever I bump into things that I'm unsure about. I'm like, is this mine to do? And I'll just check in with the Amy Steinberg albums and and get back
Funny
on
you
track.
say that, because she's actually, we're going back and forth to get her on the show.
Nice.
So that's so great. So whether it's this or the Peace Circle, she's going to be coming on soon. So very
Nice.
excited about that.
Yeah.
But that's exactly I love that song, because it is exactly where we need to be.
Yeah.
And anything, it's my attachment to what I think it should be.
Mm-hmm.
I love the statement of this or better,
Mm-hmm.
this or
Mm-hmm.
better,
Yeah.
because there's something bigger and better. Spirit always has the highest plan. And when I try to do my plan, that's when things get messy.
Yeah. My way or the highway. Oh goodness.
Yes.
You just opened
And
a can of worms with that conviction, my way or the highway.
so we get this opportunity to walk through together, and we are all walking each other home, and we are all in this place of, and the beautiful part of spiritual community is that we can be exactly who we are and be loved.
Yeah.
Oftentimes that what we're born into may love us but not understand us.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me, no matter how I've changed or where I've been along my path, they still see me as who they thought I was at
Mm-hmm.
12. And, I bless them and love them, who's left. Most of my family that I grew up with has all transitioned, which there's a lot of emotions. Grief happens. That's why I say to people, it's not, the gift is Spirit has given me so much spiritual community, and it's not to replace. And I have spiritual community, and I have these teachings that fill my life in amazing ways and give me direction that I never knew was possible. And there's no instead of, there's no limit to our good.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people, you don't take a Dixie cup to the ocean, you jump in, because there's plenty of water. Go play.
Yeah. Yep. Go play. You are the living presence. Go play.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to also mention that please share with everyone. Let them know what this is about.
Yeah, deep soul meditation. I've been doing this for 4 years now as well. It's a time to unwind and to defunk your soul from the week. So it is a time. It's an hour long, and it's intuitively guided healing meditation. And in the middle of the meditation, I do spiritual mind treatment for everyone who's present. Anyone who has a request receives treatment inside that. I found that it's a practice I started doing years and years ago, that to get to that place of meditation. And in meditation, you're opening, right? You're listening. And spiritual mind treatment is directing and dialoguing with the divine. So I like to be in a nice open presence before I speak truth, so that the truth is just, it's just playing with itself.
Love that. So tell us a little, okay, as far as they can go to One Love Awakening, and they can find out a little bit more about your virtual community, which the gift of that is it's exactly where you are. You can have, and you have a sign up for the Love Loop.
The Love Loop, yes. It's our weekly newsletter. And so in that newsletter is all of our upcoming events. It's the link for Deep Soul Meditation. You have to be a Love Loop member to get the Deep Soul link. And so there, we do have lots of things going on right now for our virtual folks, and it's not too late to join some of them as well. We're doing a book study for A More Beautiful World Our Heart Knows Is Possible by Charles Eisenstein. I just love saying his name, Charles Eisenstein. And it's deep, profound learning in community, how to be in a non-judgment, a place of non-judgment in the world. So it's polishing it. We're all stones in the tumbler, and it's vulnerable, open dialogue about all of these the goodies in that book. And so that's happening. We also have the Tao of Forgiveness workshop coming up, and all of that information is available on our website, so you can sign up for anything and all things, and dive in. We love having people in our community. We're very much in love with our community. There's people from all over the world participating with us, and it's
Beautiful.
It's my joy for sure to be a loving presence.
And I didn't realize that you've actually been doing Wake Up and Say Thank You now for 5 years.
Yeah, almost 5 years. Yeah.
That's exciting. And I want people to join you. Absolutely. Go back and watch some of the earlier episodes, but also every weekday. And it's a 30-minute show, or just about roundabout 30 minutes. And it is, wherever you are, you check out the time. It's 10 a.m. Central Time. And wherever you are, you can figure that out for your own time zone.
And let us know you're checking in on the replay with the hashtag replay. I love, I go back and I read everybody's comments, and I make sure that people are, we see you no matter when you are. And I love that they're just out there now too, because I see people doing hashtag replays on ones from years ago.
Yep.
And that picture there just reminded me, I need to cut my hair. I'm getting a little shaggy.
You say to me as I have lots of shaggy. So you and we are exactly where we're meant to be, and knowing that it's going to just, this network is a blessing to so many, and I am grateful. I want to just put out there that, we are here on this network to be that new thought, to bring that light into the world. Mm-hmm. So know that we are here, ntmedia.org. Go and click to donate. And it's hard to believe, but we are in that final moment. So I want to just say, remember, you can go to One Love Awakening. I want to say thank you for being here with us, Rev Steph. And I want to make sure people know that they can do, CSL Greater Boston. So it's Gina at cslboston.org. You can reach out to me. And I also wanted to just mention, I have a vision board workshop this weekend. So you can go to Gina at cslboston.org, or just cslboston.org has the information, but reach out to me by email and I can get you that link. It's love offerings, donations, start again, start your life. You get the whole opportunity. Join us from wherever you are, as well as a beautiful class on conscious aging coming up by Reverend Dr. Tony LaMotta. So if you're interested in any of that, reach out to me. I'll get you the details. Thank you, Rev Steph, for being here with us. You are a gift, and I look forward to seeing you on your morning shows. And you'll have to come back again and keep us posted on what's going on. Thank you so much for being and bringing the light. You are a gift. Namaste.